Alex Raykin, guitar player of Infinite Spectrum.
And this is Alex Repetti, the bass player from Infinite Spectrum. We like to think of ourselves as a new genre, prog drama, which is progressive metal, but with a heavy emphasis on storytelling.
We like to tell our story through things like sound effects and voice acting to really have the listener get fully engaged into the story and to convey the story better. I actually met Alex in college in a music theory class, and I didn't really talk to him until one day I noticed he had a Dream Theater shirt on and struck up a conversation, and it was history from there. And around that time I was in another band, and I just decided that it'd be the right decision to leave that band, and me and Alex started working shortly thereafter.
Yeah, from there it was pretty clear to us that we had really similar influences, and we just quickly started writing music together, which, even though it was like 6 years ago or more, it was ultimately the music that would lead up to becoming our album, Misguided. We had been through a lot of band members since then, which made us take such a long time to write the album, as the songs went through several different iterations. But ultimately, down the line, we met Will Severin, and he added his vocals and lyrics and created the final versions of the songs. We're both really into progressive metal bands like Dream Theater and Symphony X and Circus Maximus, but ultimately I found my way to progressive metal through classic prog bands like Yes and Rush and Gentle Giant, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and even just regular classic rock bands like Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd. Whereas Alex here found his way to it through more thrash metal
With Metallica, Megadeth, and stuff like that. I mean, I was in a thrash metal band as my first band when I started playing, and that, thrash metal really sort of got me into the whole metal, the world of metal. And from there that led me to more of the progressive elements and stuff like Dream Theater and Symphony X, and even getting into the classic prog bands that Alex has mentioned.
The other big thing to mention about our influences would be video game music, surprisingly enough. We're both huge fans of Final Fantasy, and
like you said, Final Fantasy, Nobuo Uematsu really, he's a huge influence on my composition, and I think that actually comes through in the music, especially in the more, in the instrumental sections. You'll hear very video game-esque approaches.
Yeah, his music is very thematic, which loaned itself pretty well to our concept album.
When me and Alex met 7 years ago, until recently, we've been writing everything together: the drums, the guitars, the bass, the keyboards, and even put down some vocal melodies at one point, which were rewritten by Will Severin.
Yeah, Will Severin joined the project later on, about a year or so ago, and we ultimately, we just loved his vocal approach, and so we let him completely take over the duties of writing all of the lyrics and vocal melodies, and he really added a ton to the story by doing so. Even though Alex and I wrote all of the instruments for our first album,
And we wrote the story too.
Yeah, we wrote the entire concept as well, but for the future, we plan on having all of our band members, have a part in the writing process this time around for the upcoming album. The songs are essentially, each one tells a part of the story, and collectively they all add up to a full concept album which tells a full story. So long before the songs were even written, we wrote a full story, and then broke it up into chapters, and each song essentially tells its chapter, respectively.
Yeah, we actually plan to upload a video soon that's gonna run through the whole concept of the album. So for anyone interested, you should definitely check back soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we totally follow the story 100%. The music is totally dictated by it.
Yeah, ultimately, what we did is we wrote the story, then we divided it into chapters and songs, respectively, and then we started writing musical themes that would represent characters and or scenes taking place in the story. And then we just started writing music for each song that we felt told the respective chapter of the story.
Yeah, like an actor, I would just get into the character of the story and just sort of see it through their eyes, really feel that emotion and write from that place.
Yeah, we tried the best that we could to try to envision the actual character having these things happening to them and try to make the music express those feelings. Yeah, I would have to say that my favorite song and his is Day and Night. It was the first song that we wrote together when we first met, and it turned out to be this huge 18-minute epic that I feel is probably one of our most experimental pieces. And I just love the fact that it's such a long song and tells a huge story.
Yeah, no, I definitely, like he said it, he knows it's my favorite. But I would have to put More Than You Bargained For as a close second, coming from those thrash roots that really kind of, it really hits the spot for me sometimes.
Yeah, it's another experimental tune. I would have to say that the newest or most original thing in our recording and music is that we use a lot of sound effects and voice acting throughout the album, thanks to Will Severin, who did the majority of it. We use all of these things to really create a movie-like, almost a visual experience for the listener to help convey the story, since it's such a grand scheme concept album.
Yeah, when I was recording the album here, I definitely didn't see that we were going to do all that. That came later, and we're glad that Will Severin really put that together for us. We're very grateful.
Yeah, it made a world of difference.
Yeah, I think one of our biggest challenges was finding other people like us, finding like-minded bandmates was definitely a challenge.
Yeah, we went through a lot of band members over the 6 or 7 years we've been working together now, and for one reason or another, it just wasn't a good match. Either they didn't have the same vision of the music as we did, or they weren't quite as dedicated, or scheduling conflicts, whatever it may be. It's very hard to find people that are really dedicated to such a unique type of genre of music that we are.
You could visit us at www.infinitespectrum.net or go to facebook.com/infinitespectrum. You can also buy our music at infinitespectrum.bandcamp.com.
Thanks for watching this interview. We really appreciate it. We hope we're able to shed some light on a few things. Be sure to check back on YouTube. We're going to start having videos coming out pretty regularly, whether it be us just playing some parts of our songs or even explaining the concept of our whole album or whatever else it may be. So check back in.
And make sure you subscribe to us. We'll see you guys later.